As someone that's into customizing, I'm actually looking at a lot of the cheaper stuff, or, if I want to do any sets or props. And what I found at Big Lots is the World Peacekeepers Power Team Elite, only $8. And it comes with, 2 figures. It comes with all these accessories. You have, this massive grenade launcher with the belt fed and the thing to post it on. And I bet it has a slot to go into that stand. You have your backpack. And the real reason I wanted these figures is almost just these right here. I don't know if I'll make molds of them or what I'll do, but being able to add, extra pads to my customs, instead of having to make them from scratch, it's going to be awesome for like my Destiny customs where they usually have like a pad on one arm, a shoulder pad of some sort, or something on one arm. And of course, it comes with some sandbags and some vest, which I might be able to use for something to make something bulkier than they came from the factory. These guys are actually really slim, like as far as the figures. Let me go ahead and open this up. And if I'm going to get an off-brand figure, I really don't want him to have, unless I actually find a use for that, I really wouldn't want them to have that much sculpting done, because off-brand figures are great for turning into, customs, because you're not spending a lot of money, and you're not, also not having to worry about, you can sculpt the whole thing yourself, Now this guy is a little bit cheaper plastic than, say, even the Lantern, except for the benefit of this character is that while the Lantern has no bend or turn at the below the knee, all it does is bend at the knee. This guy has foot pivots, so essentially and it pivots at the leg, so I can pretty much like have him doing a side kick, and that's interesting, the pocket is molded separate. I might actually be able to use that for like a Destiny style figure. Actually, rubber band this to his hand. Let me get that off there. Okay. Other thing about this figure is the hands pivot. So even though the plastic itself is kind of cheap, so you would be building on a cheaper plastic base, the actual figure pivots at the waist, which the Lantern figure kind of does, but his belt gets in the way. This guy pretty much, he can turn all the way around. I mean, I don't love the design right here, because while it does allow pretty much any, let me see, it turns and swings out. It does allow a lot of posing. It doesn't really look cool. I mean, if you look at G.I. Joe, I mean, he doesn't just have a big square. But anyway, they do fit the same sizing as G.I. Joe, if a little shorter. Not bad for $8. And I get 2 of these guys that I can use for parts or for customizing. Just having that fit pivot, if I found a customer, if I was making a custom where I really wanted the character to have a fit pivot, I could actually just cut this leg off if I wanted to and put it on there. Okay, and of course, he was holding a machine gun or a sniper rifle style. It's M16 looking, but it has a scope, pretty long scope on it, and like a laser sight or something. And of course, I'll just kind of take some of this out of here. Let's start with these vests. Eventually have all this piled up right there. all visible. Now, one thing that I kind of was surprised about is that actually, even though the rest of the body is exactly the same, they actually did put a different head on these guys. The other guy came with just a regular M16 without a scope. So that, you know, even though they're essentially making the most generic figure possible, they did take the time to say, you know, we don't want them to look exactly alike. So one guy has the goatee and the other guy doesn't. I mean, that's actually not too bad. These vests, we'll see if we can get them on there in a minute. Ammo box. That's a box. It comes with a lid separate, which I was kind of surprised that wasn't all one molded piece of plastic. That's really cool. That way I can show if I need an ammo box, I can have the ammo box open. You know, take stuff in out of it. Let's see here. Just one moment here, so we'll open all this up. There's the grenades for the grenade launcher. They're all on a belt. This is a belt-fed grenade launcher. And the attention to detail is actually pretty good on the accessories. And really, I think that's how they know they're going to sell it. Like if they just sold that knockoff figure right there, they'd maybe get, you know, a little money, but not much really. But when you start selling stuff like this, where you have a radio pack, and it doesn't have a peg, which is actually kind of cool. It actually has these straps on it, so it can be strapped on just about any figure known to man. You know, it's actually an elastic strap, and like I said, it's a radio backpack. I guess that's one of the reasons to do that is because they did not put peg holes in the back of the vest. So they could actually gear up completely wearing, you know, the straps and everything else. Now, of course, I don't really care for this flag in particular, but who knows, I might find a use for that later on, where you can actually, you know, I would then capture the flag style custom, or I needed a flag that was, you know, being held up by a bunch of different figures, style the famous World War II. Now everything is taped individually into this plastic card, which I actually like, because a lot of these cheaper manufacturers, you just get stuff all over the place when you try to unbox it. And in this case, you can take it out little by little. Here's some of those pads. Just back this up a little bit. Like I said, I'm going to see how they fit on the figures. One of the reasons I picked this particular one was that huge gun that I can put on any vehicle I want. Like if I find a cheap vehicle at Goodwill that doesn't have a turret, all of a sudden I already have a turret. I don't have to worry about, am I going to be able to fake something or anything like that. I got a massive turret. In fact, it may be too big in some cases. So, of course, these sandbags are actually just pieces of canvas. They actually have a little bit, they're rigid. They're pieces of canvas, pretty much put around some plastic or something, and that's actually pretty neat. If I were building a military installation, I'd be able to throw some of those to the side. It'll especially work really good if you bought two of these things and got like this sandbag wall that's in this set over here. You know, because it makes the scene fill out better. Let's see how this works. Okay, so I at the top of these actually do come apart. It has a little tab that slides right in there. So, let's see here. It looks like maybe on the side, the same thing. Now, this is actually kind of rigid, except for the tabs. Don't want to damage the tabs pulling this apart, because of course I would never get it back together per se. So I'm just trying to be careful doing this. Not that I couldn't jerry rig something up. Why damage it if I can help it? So that's why it's just taking me a little bit of time here. Okay, there we go. So this does open up from the side, so you can put it on a figure. I'm not going to actually strap them all the way in, but just trying to give you a look at this. You can put this on here. If you snapped it down, it'd actually be kind of tight on the figure. Probably ride a little higher, because you can see here, you know, and that does add a dimensionality to the figure that did not have. Also, probably one of the reasons why the figure is so slick, as far as the actual sculpting. It's because, like, if you start putting all these pads on here and everything, then of course, you know, you could have a guy that's missing half his gear. He was sleeping during when the alarm went off or something. Okay, so see here, it's a littler pad you can put on the arms. So pretty cool little set overall. And like I said, this big gun comes with a tripod, so you can mount it. Sorry, just slight assembly required to add that little thing. Let's see here. Of course, let's feed. What good is this thing going to be without some ammo in the clip? Just feed that in there, and then you put your cover on. This cover actually looks like it's supposed to snap in here. See if I can get it to snap without breaking. Okay, so there you go. You just lift that up to feed it. That's one massive grenade launcher. Like I said, based on the way this pegs into this, you could easily add this to a vehicle for when you're needing that extra level of firepower. And that is my review of the World Peacekeepers Power Team unboxing. Now that's the first one, and it came with 2 figures and all these accessories shown. Of course, G.I. Joe not included.